Hey there, thanks for joining me on Australian politics. I'm Lachlan, and today we're diving into a story that's reshaping our global energy landscape. We're talking about China's incredible journey from being the world's biggest carbon emitter to becoming a powerhouse in renewable energy. It's a transformation that's happening at breakneck speed and has caught many by surprise. If you've been following international news, you might have noticed that China isn't just participating in the renewable energy race, they're leading it. And today, we're going to explore exactly how they've managed to pull off this remarkable shift. Let me paint a picture of just how massive China's renewable energy expansion really is. The numbers we're seeing are absolutely staggering. Over the last few years, China has been installing renewable energy capacity at a pace that makes the rest of the world's efforts look like they're standing still. They're literally building twice as much wind and solar as every other country on Earth combined. What's even more impressive is how they're absolutely smashing their targets. China set themselves the goal of reaching 1,200 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity by 2030. But here's the kicker. They're going to hit that target 5 years early, by 2025. That's not just beating expectations, that's absolutely demolishing them. By the time we hit 2030, China is expected to be responsible for more than half of the world's renewable energy capacity. Just let that sink in for a moment. One country will have more renewable energy capacity than the rest of the planet combined. The scale of their ambition and execution is unprecedented in human history. When you look at their year-on-year growth, the acceleration is mind-boggling. They're not just meeting their planned expansions, they're doubling down on them. Each year sets new records, and each new target gets surpassed faster than the last. This isn't just growth. It's a renewable energy revolution happening right before our eyes. When we zoom in on solar power specifically, China's dominance becomes even more apparent. They're not just leading the pack. They're completely revolutionizing the global solar industry. Get this. China currently manufactures over 80% of the world's solar PV panels. That's not just market leadership. That's market dominance on an unprecedented scale. Their domestic solar capacity is equally impressive. By the end of 2023, China's solar PV capacity surpassed 500 gigawatts, and they're not slowing down. They're charging ahead with plans to reach 1 terawatt of installed solar PV capacity by 2026. To put that in perspective, that's equivalent to the power output of about 1,000 large nuclear power plants. What's particularly fascinating is the pace of their expansion. In 2022, China installed about as much solar capacity as the rest of the world combined. Then, in a move that left energy analysts stunned, they doubled that installation rate in 2023. They're not just growing. They're accelerating their growth at a pace that seemed impossible just a few years ago. But it's not just about quantity. They're pushing the boundaries of solar technology too. Chinese manufacturers are constantly improving their solar panel efficiency while driving down costs. They're also making significant advances in battery storage solutions, which is crucial for making solar power more reliable and practical for everyday use. China's achievements in wind power are equally remarkable as their solar developments. Let's look at their wind energy sector, which has been expanding at a breakneck pace. In 2023 alone, China increased its new wind capacity by an impressive 66%. Demonstrating their serious commitment to diversifying their renewable energy portfolio. They're making particularly exciting moves in offshore wind projects. Take their groundbreaking initiative in Shandong province, where they've launched their first gigawatt-level offshore solar project. This isn't just a small experimental venture. Shandong has ambitious plans to add more than 11 gigawatts of offshore wind capacity by 2025. The scale of their wind power integration is mind-boggling. China is currently developing over 200 utility-scale clean energy bases that combine massive solar arrays with extensive wind farms. These hybrid facilities represent a new approach to renewable energy, maximizing land use and taking advantage of complementary generation patterns between wind and solar power. These developments aren't happening in isolation. They're part of a broader strategy to create a more robust and diverse renewable energy network. By combining wind and solar power on such a massive scale, China is setting new standards for what's possible in renewable energy integration and showing the world how to build a truly sustainable power infrastructure. Let's dive into what's really driving China's remarkable push into renewables. The story begins in the mid-2000s when China made a strategic decision to invest heavily in green energy. This wasn't just about environmental concerns. It was a response to several pressing issues, including rising labour costs and severe pollution problems in major cities. But more importantly, they recognised an opportunity to become a global leader in the green energy space. The Chinese government has been incredibly proactive in supporting renewable energy development. They've implemented a comprehensive system of incentives and subsidies that make renewable projects more attractive to investors. They've also sent clear signals to state-owned enterprises about the importance of green energy initiatives, effectively mobilizing massive resources towards renewable development. A pivotal moment came when President Xi Jinping made his landmark pledge for China to peak its emissions before 2030 and achieve carbon neutrality by 2060. This wasn't just another political statement. It was a powerful signal that fundamentally changed the renewable energy landscape across China. This commitment from the top has unleashed a wave of investment and innovation in the renewable sector. The government has also been smart about policy integration, ensuring that renewable energy development aligns with other national priorities like economic growth, energy security, and technological innovation. They've created a policy framework that not only encourages renewable energy adoption, but also supports the development of domestic manufacturing capabilities and technological expertise in this sector. China's impact on the global renewable energy market has been nothing short of revolutionary. Their massive scale production has dramatically driven down prices worldwide, making renewable energy systems more accessible, particularly for developing nations. Through their Belt and Road Initiative, they're not just focusing on domestic development. They're actively investing in and constructing solar projects across numerous developing countries. The influence of Chinese manufacturing can't be overstated. Their dominance in solar panel production and technology exports has reshaped global solar markets, making clean energy more affordable and achievable for countries around the world. This has accelerated the global transition to renewable energy in ways that seemed impossible just a decade ago. However, China's renewable journey isn't without its significant challenges. Despite their impressive renewable capacity, they're still heavily dependent on coal, which provides about 70% of their electricity generation. This creates a complex contradiction in their energy system. While they're building massive renewable infrastructure, they're still deeply tied to fossil fuels. One of their biggest hurdles is their power grid system. It was originally designed around the predictable output of coal power plants, and now it's struggling to handle the intermittent nature of renewable energy sources. This means that sometimes, even when renewable energy is available, it can't be effectively utilized. They're also facing challenges with a recent surge in approvals for new coal-fired power plants, which could potentially undermine their emission reduction efforts. Another significant issue is the gap between installed capacity and actual renewable energy use. Having the infrastructure is one thing, but effectively integrating it into the power system and ensuring it's actually being used is another challenge altogether. This highlights the complexity of transitioning from traditional energy sources to renewables, even with substantial resources and political will behind the effort. Looking ahead, China's ambitious plans for renewable energy development are set to reshape the global energy landscape. Their commitment to establishing a unified national power market by 2030 is a game changer that will revolutionize how renewable energy is managed and distributed across their vast territory. This isn't just about building more solar panels and wind turbines. It's about creating an intelligent, flexible system that can effectively harness and deliver clean energy where it's needed most. The numbers tell an incredible story of transformation. China is on track to be responsible for more than half of the world's renewable energy capacity by 2030. Their pledge to have 80% of their total energy mix come from non-fossil fuel sources by 2060 demonstrates a level of commitment that few other nations have matched. The International Energy Agency has noted that China's contributions were largely responsible for the remarkable 50% increase in global renewable installations we saw in 2023. What's particularly striking about China's renewable energy transformation is how it's accelerating global progress toward climate goals. Their massive investment in renewable technology and infrastructure isn't just benefiting their own nation. It's creating a ripple effect that's helping the world move closer to meeting the Paris Agreement targets. The speed and scale of their renewable energy deployment have shown other nations what's possible when there's genuine commitment to climate action. When we step back and look at the bigger picture, China's renewable energy journey represents one of the most significant environmental transformations in human history. Despite the ongoing challenges with grid integration and coal dependence, they've managed to create a blueprint for rapid renewable energy deployment that other nations can learn from. They've demonstrated that with the right mix of policy support, investment, and technological innovation, a green energy future isn't just possible, it's already happening. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into China's renewable energy revolution. It's pretty remarkable how a country once synonymous with pollution has become the world's renewable energy powerhouse. From their massive solar farms to their innovative wind projects, China is showing the world what's possible when you combine political will with serious investment. Thanks for tuning in to Australian Politics. If you've found today's episode interesting, make sure to join us next week when we'll be exploring another fascinating aspect of the changing global political landscape. Until then, take care and keep thinking about our renewable future.